Meanwhile, face coverings while out in public are now mandatory in Riverside County, and residents who don't comply could face a hefty fine. CBS 2's Candace Crone reports from Riverside with more on the new order.
The county is really stepping up its efforts to slow the spread of the coronavirus by fining people who leave their home without wearing a mask. And the fine for violating the order is $1,000 per day per violation.
You know, I have good news for you, Margaret, because there is a solution using available technology today to fix the economic part of this problem. The solution is universal testing. What you want is every single person to get tested every day, and then they would wear a badge like they would after they voted or something like that to show that they've been tested. This would immediately sort out who's been infected and who hasn't been infected. That would help the healthcare sector, but it would also help the economy because we could interact with each other with a lot of confidence.
Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world where you'll have some countries that won't have it under control. Sadly, you want to completely block off the ability for those people to go there and come back and move around.
They have to get the shot. The vaccinations are so important. This is really going around now. They have to get their shots.
It's so important to get not just hundreds of millions, but literally billions of those vaccines, because this is a global problem. And although the US has got the most cases right now, as time goes on, the developing countries where isolation is more difficult and the health system is very weak, sadly, they're most likely to experience the most pain of all as this goes global. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
They have to get their shots.
There are some good things happening. The work on a vaccine, although that probably will take 18 months, that's going full speed ahead. Our foundation is funding that. We're looking at getting vaccines to everyone in the world. So in the long run, we're looking at getting vaccines to everyone in the world. So in the long run, we're looking at getting vaccines to everyone in the world.
We must reform our mental health laws to better identify mentally disturbed individuals who may commit acts of violence and make sure those people not only get treatment, but when necessary, involuntary confinement.
Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
We need to make sure that everybody continues to let us know where those folks are. If you've observed recurring violations of the Safer at Home order, please continue to let us know at coronavirus.lacity.org/business violation. You know the old expression about snitches? Well, in this case, snitches get rewards. We want to thank you for turning folks in and making sure we are all safe.
Some 911 centers have seen a spike in calls from people reporting others for violating executive orders and guidelines on social distancing. But as 9 and 10's Bill Freilich reports, not every call is an emergency. He continues our team coronavirus coverage.
911 centers are busy taking calls, but not for the usual reasons. That even happens with small groups. Take this report of a crew working on a lawn for the second day in a row. It turned out to be a brother and sister working in the yard.
What does opening up look like? Which activities like schools, have such benefit and can be done in a way that the risk of transmission is very low?
Yeah.
And which activities like mass gatherings may be, in a certain sense, more optional. And so until you're widely vaccinated, those may not come back at all.
And with nice weather and some good surf, many people left their house today to go to the beach. Here's what Sandy Beach Park looked like earlier this afternoon. Now, beach parks across the state remain closed, and while you can conduct ocean activities in the ocean and work out on a beach if you'd like, things like sunbathing can get you in trouble. And as Nikki Schenfeld finds out, some police officers aren't giving out warnings anymore.
Some people are still confused about what is and what is not allowed at the beach. People are still coming out to enjoy it, and those that are having to pay a hefty price. More and more people are now getting cited for hanging out at the beach. On Maui, officers issuing citations to people laying out at Napili Bay. MPD also sharing this photo of officers getting ready to let beachgoers know they have to go. Police statewide said they spent the last week warning people of the new rules. Once your feet touch the sand, you must be exercising, walking or running, or walking towards the ocean for an ocean activity like surfing. What's not allowed is sunbathing, setting up a towel, chair, or umbrella, reading a book, or sitting on the beach. But this was Lanikai today, and some residents say they are fed up.
It's being ignored over here. All of us are staying, the most we do is walk or swim or canoe paddle or fish, and they're not doing the 6 feet separation. I think they're being very selfish, and they're putting all of our lives at stake.
KPD tells me they issued 3 citations on Friday to people who were sunbathing and hanging out at the beach. Fines for violating the stay-at-home order are up to $5,000 or 1 year in jail. Anyone cited for violating the stay-at-home order will also have to appear in court and explain to a judge their reasoning for being out during an emergency proclamation.
California is granting early release to 3,500 inmates in an effort to reduce crowding.
Fines for violating the stay-at-home order are up to $5,000 or 1 year in jail.
California is granting early release to 3,500 inmates in an effort to reduce crowding.
Fines for violating the stay-at-home order are up to $5,000 or 1 year in jail.
What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. What you gonna do? Or what you gonna do when they come for you?
If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and be sure to share.